2021 was a fantastic season for IndyCar. It saw a record-equaling 4-time winner at the Indy 500 in the form of Helio Castroneves, and it saw first-time winner and one of the leading young stars in the series, Alex Palou, come out of essentially nowhere if we were talking this time last year into winning the championship, but he had a fantastically consistent season, including a second place runner-up to Helio at the Indy 500. And yeah, being the first driver to win at Chip Ganassi other than Scott Dixon, and the first driver to win at number 10 since Dario Franchitti in the kind of early 2010s. We had a crazy start to the season where we had 7 or 8 different race winners at the start of the season, didn't we? And overall, I think there was about 9 different race winners over the course of the season. It was absolutely gripping, I would say. You had the stories of the Grosjeans as well coming into play. It had everything. Do you agree the 2021 season had everything? Stephen, you're looking at me like, it wasn't that great.
Well, Pato didn't win, so...
Well, I guess, yeah. The 2021 was a terrible season for Stephen because Pato lost...
Ed Jones, why? Why?
And that's one thing that could potentially make 2022 better for Stephen because Ed Jones no longer part of the grid. But 2021 was an absolutely fantastic year. But we're not here to talk about 2021. We've done those reviews. It's all about the season preview for 2022, looking ahead. I suppose the first question we go, as a kind of start off before we kind of get into the nuts and bolts of it, do you think 2022 can be as good? Because obviously when we were speaking to Marshall at the end of the season, he raised a good point. It's very rare in kind of motorsports that you kind of get as good a season as what we had in 2021 followed up by another great season. There is almost the temptation, but there's always the expectation that it might just not quite hit the heights.
Yeah. Well, obviously last year we had first-time winners, surprise championship winner, lots of different winners. And can it really follow up when we've got guys that are more established? But the thing is, every year that goes on, these smaller teams, like your McLaren, which you can't really call a small team anymore, but your Rahal, Linneman, Lanigan, your Meyer Shank, they're closing the gap to the top boys. They're challenging the establishment. And that's kind of where I feel 2022, that's their key on can we beat 2021? It's the small teams breaking through and bringing down the establishment.
I'm just imagining Roger Penske in like Penske Tower, just like going, "We must stop Rahal," and Bobby Rahal is just kind of like leading a charge of protesters outside.
Got their
let us in, let us in, let us win, let us win.
So that's how I envisage 2022 topping 2021. But like you said, 2021 was so good that is going to be tough to kind of challenge. But you can't run it out.
Yeah, it's difficult because it isn't necessarily defined because we've had so many seasons now in a row where the title fight has gone to the last race. Yeah. Now, we know it was kind of a little bit outside shot for Pato and Newgarden going into that last race in the previous year as well in 2020. Newgarden did all he did, but, it relied on pretty much Scott Dixon not finishing the race for Newgarden to be crowned champion in that. But the fact it has still gone down to the last fight. I suppose maybe how it could top it is a title fight where you had 2 or 3, 4 or 5 even drivers within, say, 10 points of each other going into the last race. That would be pretty phenomenal, I think. To go, which I don't think with the driver talent is too unheard of or not plausible to kind of suggest that that's maybe a realistic possibility. But yeah, look, I think 2022's got a lot to live up for 2021. But
at the end of the day, and I know it's not a big marketing slogan, it doesn't have to be as great as 2021. It can still be a fantastic season, but it doesn't have to match what we've had last year.
So what you're trying to tell me is it's the taking part that counts
Yes.
for 2022.
Yeah.
All it has to do is show up and we'll like it.
Look, I'm not calling it a loser already, but...
What you're trying to say is that it's okay if it loses, we're still going to take it for ice cream and say, good job, buddy. You showed up today, and that is winning in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the in-depth kind of coverage of IndyCar you come for when you support Indy Fanatics on this channel. Right, so before we talk about drivers, which IndyCar is a mainly driver-focused series, I would say, is where predominantly you'll focus your attention on, we're going to look at the calendar. So not necessarily look at it in detail because we've done that in previous videos, but more just kind of going through the 17 race calendar, where it is, and just some general thoughts before going in and talking about the rookies.
Should we give them a quick rundown of what we're going to cover? So we're going to cover the calendar. Then we're going to hit you with the rookies, looking out for the rookies this year. And also new team joiners. So like your Grosjean, who's not a rookie, but he's joining a new team. Then we're going to hit you with our dark horses of the year. And then rounding up with the season contenders, the proper ones to watch.
The one everyone's waiting for. We're doing that classic thing on YouTube with content and going, oh, we're going to save the bit that you really want to pay attention to right at the end.
Well, now you know you can just skip. You can just skip to the end now.
Yeah, I guess that's also one way that we've kind of...
We have to stick around for the middle part, but you can just see us at the end.
We're here through it all, but you guys, you can do your own thing. So, we have on the 27th of February, this month, just a week on Sunday away, the new IndyCar season will be here. And for the majority of races this season, we will be live streaming watch-alongs during them, but not for the season opener because I can't get out of work for it. So we will be doing a race review, both of us, for the following day, as we'll be watching that race on that evening. Anyway, just a little bit later than it goes. But here's my first gripe with the calendar. It's almost a month's break to the next one. So what worked quite well is they had some kind of cancelling, rescheduling, that we basically had races pretty much every week building up to the Indy 500. It was fantastic races, built excitement for the series, kind of climaxing, well, not climaxing with the Indy 500, but coming to a first peak of the season with the Indy 500.
Yeah, there are some momentum killers, but it means we get to the action earlier.
It is. But St. Pete is a great season opener. Didn't do it last year because it was moved in between Barber and I believe the Texas Motor Speedway, wasn't it? In there, which was a double header last year, but this year Texas Motor Speedway just goes down to a one race at the Super Speedway. Going to be interesting. Texas obviously has received a lot of criticism with the PJ1 compound, which I believe has been relayed for this season. So single groove racing. I know a lot of repaving. That the repaving has also been kind of part of the reason it hasn't worked out. But yeah, Texas, don't get your hopes up. But we're not saying that you've waited a month after an exciting season opener for Texas to be disappointed, because it's still going to be a great race. Maybe, potentially. Texas, right. Then we go to Long Beach, which was our season finale last year. Who doesn't love it? But this is its usual slot in the calendar. It was just due to COVID fears and restrictions that it was slapped on the end of the season. But April 10th, 2, maybe 3 weeks is that? I don't have the calendar, actual calendar up with me. Again, a little bit disappointing. And then another big gap before we get to May with Barber Motorsports Park, not just in Indianapolis in the month of May. Barber, how do you feel to be part of the Indianapolis party? That's going to be exciting. But then it is just a run through the big ones. Road course, Indy 500, 29th of May. Oh, it is 106th running. It is always special. The Indy 500. It is It is incredible. I love the Indy 500. Move on. June, Raceway at Belle Isle Park. The last race at the Belle Isle Park goes in there. Road America on the 12th of June. Then we get, 5 races in July. July is IndyCar month outside of the month of May, which is Indy 500. I'm losing it. Mid-Ohio starts off. Toronto, it's back. After 2 years, hopefully, COVID don't show up in Canada again. Get your ass out.
Do one.
Do one, mate. And then Iowa, double header. It's back. After 2020 was superb with Simon Pagenaud winning from the back of the field in race 1 of that. And I believe actually Pato did very well. But Oliver Askew got the first podium. For Arrow McLaren, no, he didn't get the first podium, did he?
It was because the McLaren boys were on a mega charge at the end of the race, but they just couldn't make up the ground. I think
Askew got the podium, I'm pretty sure.
Maybe in his first.
Irrelevant. Then we're back at the Indy road course because IndyCar and NASCAR are trying to be friends with each other. Basically, IndyCar are trying to draw off the hype of NASCAR and go, we're better than you. Subtly. Then we're back to Nashville. In the carnage, if you've watched our predictions, you can still make your predictions of how many yellow flags will be at Nashville. Then our last oval of the season on the 20th of August at Gateway was a fantastic race last year. Grosjean's first ever oval race. He was kind of going hell for leather, trying to make overtakes and then realising he couldn't keep temperature in the tyres and just lost the window from there. Before September, the season rounding off on the 11th of September, very early finish again. It's going to be a very long close season. I hate those long close seasons. But yeah, we have Portland and then Laguna Seca going back to, it's now since I think 2017, traditional spot of closing out the season.
It's going to be interesting because the 2 prop seasons we've watched, the finale's been on a street circuit, so it'll be interesting to see a Laguna Seca finale.
And Laguna Seca...
For me, it doesn't sound as good, because obviously street is a bit more tense. There's a lot more opportunity for a mistake. But Laguna Seca is a fantastic track, and it was a great race there last season.
And there's lots of potential for overtaking still at Laguna Seca. So it does leave open. Right. That was a very long-winded way of getting through the calendar. You were like, wow, that would probably be a couple of minutes. You underestimate the waffle that is capable at Indy Fanatics. Rookies. We're going in with some new faces. New faces either in IndyCar in general or new faces in a new team. Let's start off with a rookie. Last week's interview that we had with Kyle Kirkwood. Fantastic. He's making his debut in the series. First driver to win all 3 steps of the Road to Indy ladder. A very, very exciting American talent and bags of confidence. I think Kyle Kirkwood, wow, he's going to be a great guy.
Can he push AJ Voigt to the next level? That's the big question.
Well, I believe was kind of keeping up to date. David Land is at testing as always. And I believe Kirkwood was doing very well in the timings. He was right up there with the Grosjeans and the other guys topping the timesheets as it goes along. So look, I'm going to be expecting on, and that was at Sebring. And in the interview, he said he reckons probably roads and street courses are going to be where the car's best packages. Ovals is a little bit more, and he doesn't have that much oval experience. So expect to see his best results there. Home race, St. Pete, is probably the best way that he could hope for opening the season. I'm expecting a lot from Kyle Kirkwood, but that doesn't mean like podium-wise. I'm expecting a fair few top 10 finishes. I think he's capable of that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he gets on because he's kind of the newest face at the smallest team. Is that right in thinking?
Not necessarily smallest team, but probably team of recent
of
times.
Course. So I'm completely forgetting the other one. But yeah, it'll be interesting. He's got a big task on his hands because it's fair to say AJ Foyt have been struggling the last few years. Bordeaux showed glimpses of potential in the car. But yeah, Cole Kirkwood, highly, lots of confidence, lots of potential. One to watch in those rookies.
I think next we should get it in early because we stuffed it up in the predictions.
Of course.
Also confused him with Malukas,
Yes.
go for now, who will also come on to. But Devlin De Francesco coming in for the Andretti 29 car.
Yep.
Replacing obviously Hinchcliffe.
Class winner at Daytona alongside Pato and Herta. And, oh God, that's rude. And the other guy.
The other guy. Indy Fanatics, full of knowledge.
No, it's not good.
Don't worry. We'll just name him the other guy. And we can give him like acting credits in Will Ferrell's movie with, is it Kevin Hart or Mark Wahlberg? I forget who's in the other guys.
The other guys.
I think it's Mark Wahlberg. But yeah, there we go. The other guys.
Class with it. He's coming in at Trip.
No, Andretti.
Andretti.
I literally set it up for you. Oh, he's got it wrong again. He really just doesn't go for it.
The other guys threw me. Obviously, he's just a rookie, you know? He's just a rookie. He's done decent in the road to Indy, and he's in a big team. And Treddy are on the way up. So yeah, they've shown they've got great packages on the street and road courses. So it's just up to him to maximise the potential there.
Look, Devlin is a really interesting one because, a lot of fans were probably feeling that Carl Kirkwood on ability maybe should have been there, but the deal with that 29 seat for Devlin De Francesco was secured before his Indy Light season actually last year. So it didn't necessarily matter too much, and I think a lot of the feedback is they felt he would struggle in the Indy Lights car, but actually his driving style and attributes were more suited to the top tier Indy car. So it's going to be interesting. Devlin is one of those ones that is up in the air. I don't really know.
He's got a point to prove.
He absolutely does have a point to prove.
But yeah, let's move on.
Malukas, who is driving at Dale Coyne, replacing Roman Grosjean. I suppose him and Takuma Sato. Well, let's do Dale Coyne together. We've got the rookie in Malukas, and we've got two-time Indy 500 winner in Takuma Sato, with an all-new, fresh lineup at Dale Coyne. Obviously had Grosjean and your favourite man in the world, Ed Jones, as their lineup last year. I think it's a really strong partnership, actually.
Well, you've got two sides of the scale, lots of experience and no experience. It'll be an interesting one. Obviously, Malukas bringing in new ideas, and Sato using his years of experience to kind of guide the team in what works and what doesn't work. Interesting one there is looking more towards the 500, and can Takuma generate a strong, strong bid from Dale Coyne for the 500.
Yeah, I don't know what Takuma Sato's funding situation is, but I imagine he's not short of thing there. And Malukas comes with HMD backing as well, which I believe is a transportation or logistics kind of company owned by his dad. That has obviously developed into a motorsport side of things in supporting his son's racing career. Ran Kirkwood very close in the Indy Lights Championship last year. Again, a very super talented American coming in. Losing Buisson as a fantastic engineer with Grosjean last year to Andretti. Obviously, he went along with Grosjean to Andretti in that kind of deal. That's going to be an interesting one. Have they replenished the staff that they lost enough to kind of push a charge and give both the drivers the machinery consistently capable of challenging for there? Because even Ed Jones was challenging in times for kind of top 10 performances.
I think the 500 is probably their main focus this year.
Yes.
Not to write off their season, but they probably got two drivers there that can have a good go there. So yeah, next one.
Now a guy, I suppose, completely unknown. We've seen, obviously, us from a European background have seen what he can achieve within the F3 and F2 junior ladder, and that is Callum Wylott with Hunko's Hollinger Racing. Although I don't know if it's Hunko's Hollinger Carlin Racing, but I think it's confirmed that Max Chilton's racing career at least has ended within IndyCar. And say the least, I think he's pursuing other opportunities, maybe in sports car racing, but he will not be driving for Carlin. There was rumoured to be a second seat, but I feel it's too close to the season now that I don't think that second seat will be full time. It may be a Indy 500 one-off winner, but they were definitely they were purchasing equipment from Carlin. And
look! Whoa! We're looking at Callum here. We're not looking at the life story of Hunko's whatever racing.
We need to know the story to set the tone to go, Callum, it's probably going to be a struggle in his first season.
Yeah, unlike someone like Devlin, who has a point to prove and there's pressure on his shoulders, Callum's like the opposite, where you're in a team that's coming back full-time. It's your first season in America, in American racing, IndyCar. You haven't really got anything to prove. Go out there. You're still in the Ferrari Driver Academy. Go out there, show us what you got, but you haven't really got any pressure on you.
I think he's got the hardest task of any of the rookies. Because with Devlin, Kyle, and Malukas, they've at least got some experience alongside there. Obviously, Kirkwood hasn't got huge amount of experience within racing partners, with Tatiana obviously coming in fresh, and we'll talk about her in a second, and Dalton only joined his first full-time season there, but he's got a relationship with Sebastian Bourdais and the team, so he's someone he can heavily rely on.
It's a solo effort from Callum.
Yeah. So it's going to be tricky.
But, there is no pressure.
No
one's going in there going, well, we need top tens, we need podiums, they're like, well, we just want to get settled here. So yeah, there's not really any pressure. He may have the toughest task of, being that solo effort in a new team with new ideas, but there's no pressure on the guy.
No. That's very true. And I think to round off rookies before, I think we just talk about Simon Pagenaud, who's obviously a new face in a new team. I think that's the main driver transfer that's happened. I don't think anyone else has ended up, Grosjean as well, and Andretti. So we'll talk about those two as it goes. But the guy probably best placed and probably favourite for Rookie of the Year in terms of where the team trajectory is going and machinery available to him is, of course, Christian Lundgaard, the Danish driver, qualified fourth in his first outing at the Indy road course, race 2 last year. Fell away a little bit in the race, but I think, he's going to be a guy who's really going to excel within the series.
Yeah, he's best placed. He's in a growing team with two great teammates they can learn a lot of, and he comes in with massive potential. Obviously, he showed his qualifying pace, and he's shown his race pace in F2, the Road to F1.
Road to F1.
In the F1 feeder series. He's shown lots of potential. So, a very exciting season, I think, for Lundgaard. Yeah.
I think he's got a lot to prove as well. To him, America obviously goes unknown, but in F2, he had a very good rookie season. He was a title contender in the year that Mick Schumacher won, although fell away in the kind of second half of the season. But in his second season, he didn't have a great season at all. So his reputation's a little bit...
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I don't think anyone's doubting his talent. Everyone can have a bad kind of season within it, and the ART second seat is kind of cursed. Only one driver tends to do well, and Théo Péchère seemed to be the guy who was doing well in it last year. But yeah, Lundgaard, I think he'll be hungry to prove his talent as well, which will elevate him even more.
Yeah, thing with him as well, I think he still wants that F1 dream. And that's going to require a massive effort in the next couple of years in IndyCar to put himself in the picture. Obviously, some F1 teams are looking more towards IndyCar, as IndyCar's more of a spotlight on it. He has to stand out. And if he wants to keep his dreams alive of F1, pressure's on to show up.
Absolutely. So 2 new faces in new teams, big ones. First one, a guy also we interviewed recently, was great. We're obviously his good luck charm before he went on and won the Rolex 24. But it was fantastic chatting and getting to know Simon a little bit better. And I think one of the main things I took from that interview is it may have been kind of seen as he's leaving Penske. This is just where he's going to race to kind of almost like tail off his end of the career. But Simon doesn't see that at all. He's very hungry. I think he'd almost become frustrated's maybe the wrong word within Team Penske, but he wasn't the team leader there. It was very much New Garden's team.
Yes.
And Power had huge influence from being at the team for kind of the best part of the decade, well, over a decade, by the time it leads. So I think with Pagenaud, alongside Elio coming back full time as well, that is arguably the strongest partnership outside of the traditional big teams in terms of experience and potential.
Yes, yeah. Just an exciting fresh start for Simon. Whereas Roman Grosjean in his sophomore year, really just continuing where he left off, but in a bigger team with more data as a disposal. That's the right one. He's still with his race engineer. You think with that extra data, extra kind of knowledge sharing that there is at Andretti, he should do well there.
I think so.
But obviously he's still kind of getting to group. Obviously he got a couple podiums last year and he showed he settled very quickly, but it is only his second year in IndyCar still.
It's one that could go either way.
Yeah.
He could really excel within the new team, or he just needs to take a little bit of time. And, he's against... It's no offence to Ed Jones. I don't think it's offensive to say so. It's a big step up in teammates as well, who Grosjean is putting himself against. It's okay. He very quickly became the team leader at Delcourt.
Yeah.
Driving third. He is not going to be the team leader at Andretti.
No.
At least straight out the block.
Yeah,
Colton and Alexander Rossi are very much established there.
Got to be careful of falling in the shadow.
Yeah.
Which I think kind of what happened to Ryan Hunter-Reay, James Hinchcliffe. They kind of fell away in the shadow and can never really establish themselves against, Colton Herta and Rossi as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
It's got to dodge that shadow. Stay in the light.
But I think that rounds up the kind of new faces, either completely... No. Last one. Because she is not running...
Of course.
She's not running a full season. Almost forgot you, Tatiana, but we didn't. Tatiana Calderon coming in for Road and Street Course AJ Foyt. Interesting one. There's no beating around the bush. If you look at her time in F2... yes, she was in a team that was nearer a back marker, so maybe hard to kind of establish where she was context-wise within it. But within that, it was her teammate for the first part of the season was Antoine Hubert, who obviously sadly lost his life that season. But he won races within that very same car, and she struggled. She didn't set the world alight within Formula 2. In Super Formula, she was competing last year, but she started off her kind of career within America. She now kind of makes that full circle and comes back. Coming in, competing on those road and street courses only. I don't know what to expect from Tatiana. It's a difficult one.
Yeah, she's going to have a tough task against Cole Kirkwood. Who's just on fire at the moment. But it's kind of like, is there a lot of pressure on her to kind of, perform and kind of put the kind of F2 results behind her? Or is she coming in with clean slate? A bit like Callum, not much pressure on her. Show what you can do.
I think she's done...
a weird one.
I think she's gone away and she's been decent within the sports car world.
Yeah.
As part of like an all-female lineup at Le Mans, and they've done well within there. Look, I think with Tatiana, her battle isn't going to be with Kirkwood. I imagine Kirkwood will be leading that team and driving them forwards. I imagine the battle would be more with Dalton. And that's not an offence to Dalton. It's just, I think Carl Kirkwood is potentially generational talent. He's the guy you're talking about with the new Gardens, potentially in 20 years' time, like a Dixon type thing. That's a lot of pressure on the guy. I realise I put it there, but he really could be something special. So therefore, expecting him to beat good race car drivers within Dalton and Tatiana is not too far of a stretch to go. Anyway, new faces. They're done. They're out of there. Dark horses. Well,
ones to watch.
And so, a ones to watch dark horse, self-proclaimed himself. Simon Pagenaud wants to be a dark horse. Yes. And I think out of the two Meyer Shank drivers, if you're going to get a guy who competes in the championship, I think both will be very, very competitive at the 500. Obviously, the team with Elio won the 500 last year. I think they're going to be right top contenders up in the main event, well, the main big feature race of the season. But over the course of the championship, I think Pagenaud really could cause some upsets. I think he's definitely one to watch.
Yep, obviously pre-aero screen, he won the championship and he got 2 runners up or 1 runners up and like a top 5.
Yep.
And now we're in third year of aero screen. He's got to grips with it more. You can definitely see a title bid coming in there. Another ones to watch. I'm going for one of the Rahal, Lennon Lanigan boys. And it's got to be Graham, right?
Should we just put both of them in there? I think Jack Harvey and Graham are both going to be ones to stand out. They both could go together. I mean, they both made your top 5 in your predictions. Yes. So they're definitely dark horses for you. But I think... I don't know if they're ones to watch because we've mentioned Rahal enough. We've just seemed to have got it in our heads.
It's just kind of Rahal. They are a smaller team. They're on the rise, and both of them haven't got wins in a while.
Well, Jack Harvey never has a win in the series.
That is a long time,
so that is a long time.
That's eternity.
You weren't wrong there. No.
So yeah, I think both could be serious contenders, and I think it's fair enough calling them dark horses.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I would definitely agree with that. And I think sticking on the midfield team would be with Arrow McLaren SP competing at the top with Pato, but I think his partner in Felix Rosenqvist is going to bounce back. I think Felix takes a hit. He had a very good rookie season with Chip Ganassi. He secured his first win in the series in the second, but just it never got together. And I think he just really struggled to get to grips with the car. But there were definitely signs in that second half of the season that he was pushing on. If Arrow McLaren, now that it's fully backed by McLaren, we've got to remember, and so I imagine there's more funding being funneled from the McLaren overall project into that race team. If they're pushing to really say it's a convincing top 4 teams, because Rahal, I think, will have to do more than Aaron McLaren to do that, then I feel like Felix could be up there challenging for race wins like Pato.
Yep, his car looks great as well.
It does. Probably my favourite out of the McLaren livery. I like that blue. Yeah, it is a great blue on that car.
But yeah, definitely a dark horse there. Any others? We got 4 in there.
I'm going to throw one interesting one. So,
curveball.
Conor Daly is going full-time season, but he isn't going to be the guy that I say is a one to watch from that thing. I think Rinus VeeKay comes into this category because he had a fantastic start of the season, but how bad his second half of the season was Was never the same after that injury.
Never the same.
Never the same. For whatever reason, he's really one that, could easily be forgotten about from the Hertas, the Patos, Palou obviously doing so well, Kirkwood coming in, Christian Lundgaard could obviously come in and do really well within the series. Rinus VeeKay is a top talent, and if he gets it right and he finds that mojo back from the first half of the season, we could even be talking about him as a title contender, because he was blisteringly quick, and that win at the IMS road course in race 1 there last year was a superb win.
Yeah. Yes, it was. But I think that kind of rounds up the fast-paced dark horses that are going to be in the mob challenging the establishment.
One last one.
We need another banner here.
Well, two technically. Scott McLaughlin is one who could be a dark ones to watch.
Oh, I feel like I know who you're going to say now.
Marcus Ericsson.
Okay,
no, you didn't know. Who did you feel?
I wasn't sure if you're going to go Will Power.
No.
It seems like every year we go,
Will! Come on, Will! One last time for Power. No, I think we know what we get from Will. If he gets it right, he could be up there. If he doesn't, he'll be around about.
Sorry, I sidetracked you. Marcus Ericsson.
He had his best year within IndyCar last year. 2 wins, arguably both in some sort of fortuitous circumstances, especially when he launched the Swedish space program. I've heard they've received extra funding from Husky Chocolate. You'll see Husky Chocolate going around the atmosphere soon. But yeah, look, Marcus Ericsson, it was all about Palou. He won the championship. Everyone's probably expecting Dixon to bounce back a little bit. Can Marcus kick on again? Can he reach... Was that his level last year? Or can he go one more? Bearing in mind that Ganassi probably had the best car last year as a team overall.
Not to dampen his 2 wins, but it'd be great to see him actually dominate a race. Take a race and go, this is my race. Because he was there. He obviously drove fantastically to finish off Nashville and take home the victory. And he was there with Will Power at Detroit. But he never had that one race they absolutely dominated and looked like unbeatable. So that'll be the kind of interesting thing. Can Marcus take that step and do that on a race weekend?
Yeah, it is. So, but that does round up the ones to watch, dark horse, whatever it is section. Next section.
The title contenders.
Dun, 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 dun. That music theme is copyrighted, so don't anyone try and steal that, otherwise we will sue you. We won't. But no. Well, I guess a quick note before we say title contenders. Indy 500 is the biggest event of the year, but you can't really make any accurate thoughts or judgments on that until you get to the month of May. When practice is coming, obviously we'll do all sorts of previews for the Indy 500 when we're getting to that time of year. So that is a feature in itself. We did the predictions video for our 500s, but you can't at this stage of the season make any real assumptions with any real authority.
Yeah, see that preview in May. We're just looking at the championship here.
Indeed. So your title contenders, realistically, from the top 3 would be Newgarden, Dixon, Palou. I think those are the ones you nail on as...
Whoa! You can't just do Pato like that, and you can't just do Colton Herta like that.
No.
No. There is no. Scott Dixon's washed up, mate. Where was he last season? And you're putting him in the top 3 contenders?
Mate, he was top 5 still last year. Because he's just Mr. Consistent.
Look, he's going to make my...
if he had a decent... realistically, if he had a decent Indy 500 because of the double points, he probably would have been top 3.
But he wasn't though, was he?
No.
Where was he?
He wasn't there. All right? He wasn't there. But I think it's too early to write off Scott Dixon. This guy has won 6 championships. I don't think he's washed up just yet. I don't think he is. I think 2019 he had a meh year as well. I think he might have finished 4th in the championship that year. I can't remember. But
then he came back and won it.
And then he came back and won it in 2020. Look, I think you have to see it as a consistent pattern over a couple of seasons with Scott to say that he's passed.
He likes to alternate.
Yeah, look, I don't think... Look, Scott Dixon isn't at his peak, but he just knows how to be in a championship fight. He just gets results. How many times last year did we go, oh, Scott's in the top 5?
Yeah.
He just gets there. He doesn't do anything spectacular. He just accumulates points. He is the points accumulator. And Palou has gone, I'm going to out Dixon as we sell Palou merchandise.
Yeah,
just Palou's face. I'm out Dixoning Dixon.
He is incredible, and he's definitely a title contender. But I just want to put him in an established top 3 title contender.
I think you have to.
But let's look at the other. Let's move on from Scott.
He's won 2 out of the last 5 years. Newgarden's won the other 2.
I'm just saying,
and Palou won last year.
He's out of form. That's all I'm saying. He's out of form compared to some of these young guns coming in. Okay? But let's look at Alex Palou. Obviously, reigning champion with Chip Ganassi. He came out of nowhere, like we said at the beginning. But he is out Dixoning Dixon. And he just got better last year throughout the whole season. I know he won the opening. I'm saying he got even better than that. But he just kind of did. Rounding up... where was it? They got his victory at the end there. Portland, yeah. And it was absolutely fantastic drive from him. And he looked absolutely incredible. It was kind of his best drive of the season.
Mm.
So he's coming in with mega form, mega confidence, with a top team. Easily one of the favourites for the title this year to do it again.
He was nothing short of phenomenal in 2021. And you have to say, although you'd say Dixon was out of form, Ganassi have been in the aero screen era, if we can call it that type of thing. They've been the team to beat in the championship.
Yeah.
Newgarden's come very close as the bridesmaid in a couple of years and has, for him, pretty sketchy years, actually, where things just didn't go right for one reason or another in 2020 or 2021. But he is... again, Mr. Championship. He came in as a youngster to established guys in Pagenaud and Will Power at Team Penske. And he went, sit down, lads. This is my team. And he won 2 championships in 4 years. Obviously, it's now 2 championships in 5 years, having not done it. He was close to 3 in 5 years.
Yeah, definitely. Joseph Newgarden is top level in IndyCar. On his day, he is unbeatable, and he's pretty consistent at having those days. He had a pretty awful start to last year, and he was still in the title fight in the finale. It was still mathematically possible for him. He's absolutely mega. And I think we said a couple of episodes ago, I don't remember what podcast it was, but he just flies under the radar. For so mmany people. I'm losing my voice because of that Scott Dixon.
Because just getting emotional.
Scott Dixon's first! Joseph Newgarden, I can easily see him winning the title. I'm just going to say it. Just because he has been so close, so consistent, and he is unbeatable a lot of the time.
Absolutely. And I think that's why he will always go and think. And here is why Pato and Colton were out my top 5.
Top 3.
Top 3. And they are in the top 5. Oh, God, jeez. Right, so, look, Andretti haven't quite been on it in terms of talking it. They haven't quite got it together as a complete package. And, it's been up and down for Colton in those seasons. All right. And he won the most most races last year, got the most pole positions, wasn't he? He was up there with fastest laps. He was unstoppable at times. He was like Newgarden in terms of on his day, no one could touch him. Like Nashville, realistically, should have been like a 20 or 30 second race lead for Colton Herta. He was finding pace that no one else could get. It was only because it was difficult to overtake on a street circuit and he couldn't get past the wall that was Marcus Ericsson. But Pato and Colton, they've just lacked the consistency to nail on, say, they will definitely title challenge. I think they will definitely, be up there, but whether they can sustain it over the season, I think this is a really big year for both of them to go, have they put into place the lessons they've learned in their rookie and sophomore years and go, because I know it technically wasn't his rookie season in 2020 for Pato, but it pretty much was. It was his first full-time season. This is the one where I think is almost a coming-of-age season.
Yeah, I think both of them are there at the top level where the other 3 drivers we've spoken about are. Is more the team and their kind of development. Because Andretti were struggling with their overall packages across the calendar. They were nailing the street ones, but overall, it was only really come together at the end. And obviously, McLaren, we've seen quite inconsistency with their packages as well. So it's whether those teams can make the step up, that will kind of hand in hand go with the drivers challenging for the title. But yeah.
But I think those are your pretty much main 5.
Yeah.
All right. They're the ones that, unless something goes extraordinarily wrong for one or, multiple ones of them, they're going to be guys who are going to be challenging up there all season. And it might be one of them who just absolutely nails it and goes off into the sunset and dominates the season.
Yeah.
Could happen. Because, if one of them gets it right, they have the talent. They all have the talent to do that. The wild cards, throwing in a name there, I think the only wild cards out of the top teams that I can say with any certainty is Alexander Rossi. He has in the Aeroscreen era. He has had a terrible time.
When it clicks, it could be pretty scary with Rossi and the championship.
And it's a really big year for him because with this new influx of talent, there's a real danger of him becoming a forgotten man.
Well, yeah.
Of just, I mean, it's not to be understated, just the 2016 Indy 500 winner coming in as a rookie and doing that. But, that was an incredible achievement. But, if Colton does dominate the team and say Grosjean comes in and beats him, it might not be too soon before Andretti go, you know what, maybe we're going to have a look at Kyle and bring him in.
He's seen it up close with his friends James Hinchcliffe and Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Yeah.
They've completely disappeared. Obviously, Hinchcliffe was a fan favourite before going to McLaren, then having that injury and then being dropped. And then his full-time return last year, you just didn't talk about him because he did nothing. Andretti. And then obviously Ryan Hunter-Reay, great first half of his career, but again, absolutely disappeared and kind of went without a whisper. Is that the same? So yeah, it's pretty scary. It's like two sides. There's a one incredible driver there in Alexander Rossi, and like I said, if it clicks, he could be a guy that just dominates the championship. It's kind of hard to envisage because
the past 2 years
it hasn't clicked.
So bad. Yeah.
It's been far from clicking. But if it clicks, he can be right there. But if it doesn't click, then he's going to be following the path of James Hinchcliffe and Ryan.
And I guess that's the ultimate thing. It's like there is only so long you can go if.
Yes, exactly.
At some point, you have to deliver.
Yeah.
And he could easily deliver the Indy 500 this year because he is fantastic. And his bad luck spread to the Indy 500 in the past couple of seasons as well there.
Yeah.
But, 2019, he was very, very close to securing a second Indy 500, losing out to Simon Pagenaud in a fantastic kind of closing lap encounter between the two of them. But yeah, he's the only one I can say with any real confidence. But yeah, huge year. And I don't buy into the Rossi's overrated. I think he is a supremely talented driver. I think someone summed it up to emotional is maybe a good word in terms of he's an up and down roller coaster, like Will Power. When they can channel that, they're a supreme force within a sport. But then when things are going badly, maybe it's something that kind of gets on top of them. I don't know.
Yeah. Do we throw Will Power in as a wild card just for the laughs?
I think I love Will, but I think his championship times are behind him.
Yeah.
And I just can't say. The only one I would say that is a real wild card, I just don't think they can compete over the course of a championship, is Graham Rahal. If it all comes together and Rahal nailed the year, he's got every potential of doing it.
Yeah.
But I think that is really, really wild card territory.
Too bad, didn't I put him in at like 3? My prediction.
You may have even predicted him. No, you didn't predict him to win. That was Pate.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think that is your season preview. We hope you've enjoyed that. Obviously, you got the two of us on screen. We try as much as possible now, but can't. People keep expecting us to leave and work. They won't just pay us to do nothing and podcast for you. It's a joke.
In season, we should be pretty much consistent.
Well, we'll follow every race. We'll have every race weekend coverage for you guys, and we cannot wait to be enjoying what we hope will be a fantastic season. We'll try and do like an update of kind of any kind of questions. Maybe we'll do like a fan Q&A for kind of newcomers to IndyCar or at Sins before the season. To kind of help out with anyone who needs any rules, because obviously the IndyCar Explained video does well and covers most of it. Yeah. That's it for today. So if you're new around here, you enjoy what you do and you want to be with us for this 2022 IndyCar season, what can they do, Stephen?
They can like, subscribe, and ding that bell.
Ding it. So for now, you Indy fans, keep racing.